What's going on? Good morning. Welcome to Lake of the Ozarks Fishing Report. It's finally October the 1st, 2025, and we're about to have the Big Bass Bash at Lake of the Ozarks. It's a weird morning for me because I'm headed to work. As many of you know, I work for the federal government. I work for the National Guard, but I'm actually employed by, I guess, NGB. I do work for the state, but I'm federal. So I am going in to sign a bunch of paperwork this morning, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I work commercial transportation, so do I shut down all the flights that are happening? Do I shut down all my trucks? It's going to be a little bit of a weird morning. So got to deal with that, but guess it looks like I'm going to have a couple days off to get out there on the lake. So I don't really know what's going to win the Big Bass Bash. I don't know where my focus is going to be. I'm going to fish with my daughter, and our daughter is pretty big into fishing, but she's kind of like all about that money. So we have a good time with it. I just don't want her to get super disappointed because it's even hard to get a check sometime on the kids' side. But we have a good time. You can fish for crappie with kids. You can fish for bluegill. You can fish for catfish, and you can fish for bass. You can do it off the dock. You can do it anywhere, basically, as long as if you're in a boat, you have the same rules apply where you can't trailer around from spot to spot. For example, if we were fishing in the Glaze and then we took out a PB2 and decided, we're going to go up to Brown Bend at the 60-mile marker and put it in, can't do that. So don't do that. Don't fall into something that is, a rule that you might not know and get disqualified. Now, what should we do? Should we start up the river and put a catfish pole out, see if we can get a big one in the morning? Should we get some minnows and drop them around the docks? Because we can fish off the dock. She can. And then see if we get a big one doing that. I think that's our game plan to start out with. And then we'll get in the bass boat. And especially if we need to go weigh one in, we'll go up to Ivy Bend and weigh in. And then we'll come back. We'll fish either off the dock, or we'll just stay out on the boat and then go for a bass. And then we will see how the day develops. I think it's still going to be pretty warm. It's been about 60 some degrees in the morning, and it warms up into the mid 80s every day. We're kind of in that lull of, that it's not dog days, but it's that fall lull that we always have before the fall really kicks in, to where we start having some nasty weather and rain and those good spinnerbait type days. You know what I mean? That good old buzz bait day where you just get up in the morning, you got to put all them clothes on, and then you have them off by 9 o'clock. But that early morning, just nasty old fall, drizzling down, rain, cold, and they're eating that Chapo or a buzzbait like crazy. We're not there yet. So slow down. The jig bite's been really good, so I would not be surprised to see this thing won on a jig. Take a black and blue, take a bluegill colored one. A white jig is working well. Travis Fox won the Toyota Series with a shad colored swim jig. That is definitely working. I used one in play during the Mid Lakes 2 weeks ago. They're eating shad, so white jigs. The profile, depending on where you're at, I don't think color is a huge deal. So I'm a jig guy. I love making jigs. I've made them forever. It's kind of wrapped in our DNA around here at the Ozarks to make jigs. So I go from that little brown jig, if you know, to a good swim jig. I like a poison head with a good hook in it. I like a bullet head, casting head out of the old Do It molds. And if you like dirty jigs, a lot of those heads are about the same. Some people like an arky head. They think it skips better. I like an arky head also. I'm one of them guys that like eyeballs. Now, I know people are going, they don't get a good enough look at it. They don't, so Crockett Gator makes one with eyeballs on it. In fact, I think Michael Harlan was using that to get second place. I think it makes a difference. I think if we're in a pressured time, which the bass is going to be hugely pressured. We just had the Toyota. We had the BFL before that. We had mid-legs. We had, I think, 3 or 4. We had NBAA. We had the river tournament. These fish have been seeing lures. They've been pounding on a little bit. So things like eyeballs, things like maybe doctoring up the tail of your trailer a little bit are going to make a difference. So, that being said, a Crockett Gator with your eyeballs on your jig, a dirty jig, stuff like that, I think are going to play. Now, are there lots of other jigs and companies out there that are making good jigs? Yes. There's tons of them. Apex, Strike King, name it. There's a bunch. Buckeye makes a bunch of good jigs. Buckeye actually makes one. It's called the Pro Series 2 with eyeballs. It's kind of a poison head. But anyway, it's not a jig seminar. A jig is in play. Pick your favorite color. Pick your favorite trailer. You cannot go wrong right now with a jig in your hand. Shaky heads. E-Factor shaky heads. You've got your football type with the scorpion hook. You've got your round head. You've got the Crockett Gator with the round head. Can't go wrong with that one. What are you going to put on it? Bait Cape trick stick, Zoom trick worm, Bojangles, smoke pole. Any of those type of worms are going to work amazing. If you're a Yamamoto guy, you got GSM outdoor guy, get your cut tail on there. That's going to work well. Any of those worms are going to be great. You're an old Texas rigger, put your brush hog on. There might not be a better bait on Lake of the Ozarks than a green pumpkin candy brush hog or a watermelon candy brush hog. Full size. The mid size is pretty cool too, but just we're in the Big Bass Bash. Stick with that full size and then Texas rig it on your favorite hook. You don't need a big weight right now. 3/8 is really, really good. A 5/16 is a good weight right now. If you're on some deeper docks or you're getting that reaction, swimming it, go ahead and put a 1/2 ounce on there. But I'm going to stick with 3/8, see if that works. If I need to adjust, I'll go from there. Big old Berkeley power worm. You got your Texas rig all rigged up. Have some brush hogs out. Have some power worms laid out. There might not be a better worm out there to catch a 7-pound bass. A 10-inch, a 12-inch Berkeley power worm. I wouldn't go with the 7-inch in the Big Bass Bash. Just leave that big one on. If you're up the river, getting some dirty water, black with the blue tail. Don't even try anything else. I might throw a black and blue fleck. It probably doesn't matter, but that black and blue tail up there. You want to go crazy with it? Get some with the chartreuse tail. But blacks. Stick with the blacks up there. Black neon. Black and purple flag. Black, black, black. Get around in some clear water. The green pumpkins and red bugs come into play. You like June bug? June bug works everywhere. Red bug works everywhere. So, if you're down by the dam and you got some really, really clear water, which, by the way, the water clarity is very, very visible. There's very clear for Lake of the Ozarks all over the lake right now. So you have good clarity from the dam, up the Gravois, up the Glaze, up all the way past the 50-mile marker, all the way to Proctor. So you're going to see it if you're up the river that, wow, I'm going to fish around Big Dicks or maybe down by Bare Bottoms, but then as I run up the river, I'm not going to see some really dirty water until I start weighing in up at Ivy Bend. And then from there, it just gets a little bit dirtier, but still, it's a lot of good clarity all the way up, even to Warsaw. So we haven't had enough rain, and Warsaw just barely dumping water every once in a while. So we have clarity all over the lake. Speaking of where on the lake, where is it going to be one at? Where's the big fish going to be one at? So hard to tell. I wouldn't be surprised if it's one out of the Glaze. I wouldn't be surprised if it's one in the mouth of the Gravois. I wouldn't be surprised if it's one up the river. Now, I haven't said anything about the Niangwas. The Niangwa is going to play. So, you really can't go wrong no matter where you're at on the lake. The fish are biting, and maybe some of those areas that haven't been really, really pressured might be good. So, try your mouth of the little Niangwa and that big Niangwa area. There could be some sneaky holes in the glaze, but like I said, we have had a lot of pressure, so getting away from it's going to be pretty difficult. I haven't seen a lot of people weigh up the glaze in Brown PB1. Kind of gets like that to where all the focus is from, PB2 to Shawnee Mission Boat Ramp, and then we don't get a lot of pressure way up the glaze. So if somebody can go up there and pop a 5-pounder, they're going to get a good check fish. I don't think it'll be one way up there, but you could definitely get some check fish. If it was one up there, I wouldn't be surprised, but I just don't put my money on it. That's about it. If you want to try glides right now, they're working. If you want to do buzzbait all day, that's working. If you want to consistently get a lot of bites, I don't know how many check fish you're going to catch, but lots and lots of bites. Stick with that shaky head and pitch it around behind the docks, in front of the dock, on the floats, everywhere. They're kind of all over the place. Good thing is if you find a dock right now that's got some fish on it, let it rest and go back later. There's more than one keeper on docks. They're kind of grouping up on these docks. It's kind of the way it used to be, to where if you had a good brush pile or a good dock, you could definitely catch a 5-fish limit on it. But in this thing, you're wanting that one big fish. So if you get a good one, leave it alone, then get back in there later and try to trick that big one to bite. A lot of times your biggest one's going to bite first thing, so make it count. If you're getting in there, really, really make those first few flips. Be paying attention, be ready, get the net ready, watch your line. A lot of them are hitting on the fall right now, so your line's going to take off, and they've been hanging onto the bait good, so pay attention and get that fish in the boat. I would hate for you to catch or get a bite and then not get it in the boat, and that might have been a money fish or maybe even the winning fish. So pay attention right now, because they're feisty and they're really running with the bait. If you've got a higher gear ratio reel, I would recommend it. I would go with big line, 20-25 pound fluorocarbon, even mono. If you're a braid person, do it, but up your line up a little bit. You just don't want to take a chance in this. It's just one fish that you're looking for 100 grand. So don't go with 12-pound test and get a bunch of bites and then risk losing. Now, there's some guys that swear that their jig works better with smaller line. If it's me, this is not the tournament to try that. So do what you do. If it works for you, great. I'm going with the big line and the big stick. 7'6" Dobbins 765 in the Ecstasy series, or I love the Sierra series also from Dobbins. I'm going with my 744, 765, maybe even big rod, maybe an 805 for if I get crazy and I might even put out a 1 ounce jig. Might go 3/4, but maybe even a 1 ounce, and just go big or go home, because this is a big bass bash. So that sounds fun to me. I can punch docks. We're like, that's for punching grass. No, you can punch docks. You can punch behind floats and behind lifts and get your big jig out down in the brush quicker and make a reaction bite. Then you gotta get her out. So you need that big rod, the big 805. Man, that's a lot of fun. But be safe out there, guys. There's gonna be a lot of boats on the water. Make sure you stop into some of these restaurants. Go to Redheads. Go to Shorty Pants. If you're on the upper end, go to the Red Fox. Go to, if you're by Ivy Bend, maybe you're up there, go into the wet spot and have something to eat. If you're down by the dam, you've got all kinds of choices. You've got Toads, you've got the Tap and Grill. If you're in the Graboids, go to Jolly Rogers. Just, fishing around some of these bars and grills on the lake might be a good choice too. They love to hang around the bluegills. The bluegills are there. The bass are there. I can't tell you how many big fish live around Backwater Jacks in that whole cove right there. So get you something to eat and then go catch some big fish. It's the fall. You don't have to worry about them spawning. You don't have to go and pinpoint them. It's kind of anybody's ball game out there. So glides, moving baits, just, put on a big square bill and just go and go and go and go. And you run into a place where you want to have something to eat, stop, then you're done. You're having a great time out there, and it's going to be pretty busy with boat traffic, so be careful. What's going to win a 7-pound 4-ounce? A 7-pound 4-ounce bass is going to win the Big Bass Bash. So tell me if you think I'm crazy. Tell me if you think some of these baits are going to work. Go in the comments, or in fact, shoot me an email. Say, you're crazy. It's going to be one on a 1-ounce rattle trap in the glaze on the hump right by PB2. You just tell me that. I want to hear your predictions. You guys be safe out there. Good luck to everybody. Thank you for listening.